What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. I am happy today. You see a big smile on my face. Why? Because New York Jets football is back for a second day of OTAs. And I get it. There's going to be the fun police out there saying like, oh, don't read too much into this stuff. It's OTAs, a long way to go before the season. I am here and starting the video by saying all that is true. Yes, of course, there is a long way to go. Also, at the same time, kick effing rocks, man, because it's okay to be excited about your favorite football team being back. Your quarterback, who you only saw for 4 effing plays of the regular season last year, back on the football field. Jet fans, you are allowed to be excited. It is okay to be happy that football is back, even if it's in a very small capacity like OTAs. And we have a lot of stuff to break down. We're going to start first with the Saleh presser portion of the day, and then in the second half, we'll get into what actually happened with the Jets on the field today. First and foremost, the most important part is Aaron Rodgers is back at practice and has no restrictions, according to the head coach, Robert Saleh.
But for him to push the envelope, continue his rehab. He has no restrictions, and he looks good, man. The arm talent obviously is still there, but it's really just reacclimating to everything, and we're trying a bunch of new stuff too, and it's just trying to evolve within the offense.
Not really all that surprising when he was trying to make a push and make a comeback last year, which was at this point, let's count reverse. April, March, February, January, December, 5 months ago, he tried to give it a go to get back. So 5 months later, continuing the rehab process and being out there without any restrictions really isn't all that surprising, but still it's a good thing to hear and a good thing to see. More on how he did today in a little bit. One of the other questions Robert Saleh was asked about was the later bye week, and he talked about why he and the Jets elected not to take the bye week after the game on the road in London, because it's so early on in the season. There's a week off before the season begins. They have a Thursday night game early on in the season, which he compared to a mini bye week. If you play on Thursday, then you get a couple extra days. He didn't want to then take the bye week, at week 6 at that point. Instead, the Jets play a Monday night game, so they get an extra day that helps a little bit. And instead, they get their break, a full week off on the bye in week 12, which is much later in the season, actually the beginning of December, if I'm not mistaken. So the Jets really felt like they needed that break later rather than earlier on, even though they have the travel overseas. I thought that Robert Saleh downplayed a little bit the Sauce Gardner traveling comments. He was asked about it, and he kind of said it'll vary from game to game, but I also don't think he wants to give away the full thing. So him coming out and being like, yeah, Sauce is going to travel with number ones. I don't know if that's really the best way for him and the Jets to go about it, because it kind of tells your opponents what's going to happen. Him brushing it off and playing it off like we'll see on a game-to-game, I'm okay with. One, because their defense has worked very, very well without Sauce traveling, but also number 2, because just because he says something at a press conference doesn't mean that's what's actually going to happen, as seen by the copious examples of the first 3 years of his tenure here. It's very, very okay. Believe me, it's very okay that he's not going to go out and definitively say that Sauce Gardner's traveling, and there's a chance that he still does, so don't get too bent out of shape. Saleh also mentioned that Mike Williams and AVT will be off to the side. More on some other guys who were off to the side, not cleared for football yet. Tyron Smith and Olu Fashanu were both out there at practice, and that was good news to hear about that. With Tyron, who is someone who doesn't really practice a whole lot in season, he's got banged up a ton over the last decade. That's not surprising to see in season a guy like that not play, but for Olu and Tyron to both be out there, that's good. They could use the reps. Now in the practice portion, here were guys who were not there. Now Simpson ended up being with the rehabbing guys, so it was just Brees, Quinnen, Reddick, Solomon Thomas, and Leaky Fotu. Inside the building rehabbing was Elijah Vera Tucker, Mike Williams, and Jordan Travis. Estimation is that about 90% of the roster was there, which is great for voluntary OTAs, things you absolutely love to see. That makes me happy. This Jets team really needs as many reps as humanly possible working together, because unfortunately They didn't get a ton of time last year because Aaron Rodgers goes down, but it's important to get the offensive line going as early as you can. Rodgers, the timing with all the different receivers. Again, I understand that they're in shorts and just a helmet and that things change in game versus how they look at practice. All those things very, very true. But what's also true is you need to get your timing down with your receivers and the timing and coordination with the offensive line. And this is the time where those things happen. So yeah, OTAs and mini camps and training camp practices do matter. As for Aaron Rodgers, he impressed. He went 7-7 in both 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 to start. So he came out of the gate firing on all cylinders, did not miss until I believe it was his third or fourth throw. On 11-on-11. He hit Xavier Gipson over the middle of the field for a touchdown on 11-on-11 that the reporters were going buck wild about. It was about 40 yards down the field, thrown in between a corner and a safety. Not an easy play. Good pitch and catch from Xavier Gipson. Again, deep down the field, 40 yards down the field, then on 11-on-11. It's not like just, everyone's going crazy wide and it's a free-for-all because it's just 7-on-7s. No, that's not the case in this one. A couple more notes for today. Tyron Smith, as I said, practiced and supposedly looked really, really good, which isn't surprising because when he's healthy, he is one of the best, 3-4 offensive linemen in the league. There's not a very long list of names at left tackle that you have to go through before you get to Tyron Smith. There was never an issue about talent with Tyron. The only thing that ever concerned some Jet fans about Tyron Smith is his injury history and what your contingency plan. The Jets' contingency plan was adding a first-rounder in Olu Fashanu, who's going to get to learn behind him. And now Fashanu supposedly got beat by Eric Watts on a play, so lost a rep there. But that's, again, this stuff is going to happen. We're not declaring Olu Fashanu a bust because he lost a rep on the first day of not even training camp, of OTAs. But he's going to get a ton of opportunity with Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses, wasn't out there practicing. I don't remember if I mentioned his name before or not, but these guys are going to get some opportunity and some run over the summer. For those keeping track of the stats back at home, 13 of 15 with 3 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers went today in practice. He hit Garrett Wilson for a short one. He hit the Xavier Gipson for a little bit of a longer one. It was a really sharp day for Aaron Rodgers, which there were a lot of days like that last year. It's crazy to see the difference with an Aaron Rodgers-led practice. And unfortunately, for the Jets over the last few years, we've seen a lot of practices and a lot of training camps with Zach Wilson, Sam Darnold, Bryce Petty, Ryan Fitzpatrick, just these names who unfortunately were not in the top echelon of quarterbacks in the league. And did Ryan Fitzpatrick have a good year in 2015? Yes, of course he did. Was there flashes from Sam Darnold of him being good? Yes. Were there a couple of weeks where Zach Wilson looked like he could be promising? Yeah, of course. There were flashes and streaks of really good play, but no one has really been at the Jets quarterback spot. No one has really touched the level of play that Aaron Rodgers has in his career. So it's going to be really exciting watching him suit up. And again, you're allowed to be excited about him throwing passes in shorts. You saw him 4 plays last year. Enjoy it, Jet fans. So anyway, I kind of just want to come on here and do a quick reaction and recap of day 2. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I'm Matt O'Leary. I'll catch you guys next time.